Hello, this is Robin. I have here in my hands a Taurus Spectrum. It is empty and nothing in there. I'm actually fixing to do a video on cleaning the firing pin. I will not actually be cleaning it because this firing pin is actually done, but I think there's been a lot of confusion about where the firing pin is, what all parts are in here. So I have not seen a video of somebody attempting to do this. So I figured I would go ahead and do one, being that it is difficult. I'm not gonna lie about it. This gun is a bit of a problem, and there are a lot of small parts, and it's not easy to get back together because there are several things that you have to do in here to make sure that everything goes back into this gun. And I'm going to show you exactly how. I'm not going to do any editing to this video, just so that you can actually see every step that I take and how long this is going to take me to put it back together. I have had this gun apart once already, so I'm hoping that because I have already had this gun apart, that it will make it a little easier for me now to do it a second time, because I've already had it undone once. So recoil spring, and actually you don't even have to remove this. You could leave this in there. I don't know how much of a difficulty that would be, but I mean, really, everything that you're working on is back here. I don't know if maybe in the eps of you doing some parts in here or something like that, that it would cause it to move. But there are some things that are going to have to come out, and just for the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and remove everything, just so that it does make it a little easier for me, because this is my only a second attempt to do this, and it is hard. So I'm going to go over everything for you as we do this. What we're going to do is we're going to depress this little keeper bar that runs inside to the firing pin, which sits in a little block, and we're going to get to this, but we're going to go ahead and press this down, and we're going to take this back cap off. This cap will come off. Okay, so we're fixing to do that now. Just to press this down, and that sucker will slide out. Now if you notice, I turned that around because there is no way that cap is going to slide off without you coming back to the other side, because the screwdriver cannot move out of the way, and you have to do the same thing the opposite way. You're going to have to put this back in, and we'll go through that, but when we go back in, we will have to come to this side so we can slide the cap in, and I will be showing you that. Okay, so we have this little keeper bar. It's not very long, it's just a bar that goes in, and it sits into this back of this casing right here, and I'm going to try to get this in focus for you if I can. Right in there is a little groove in that back of that slide there. It's down in there that you have to push that into. It's going to slide into it when you put this cap back on. It does not go any further than that pin will allow it to. So this does not move back and forth. Your firing pin will move back and forth along this, back and forth this way. This does not move. It is stationary by that little angle right there. See that? This does not move at all. The spring slides across it, and the firing pin comes back onto it. It's kind of like a guide rod for the slide as it comes back on the barrel. Okay, so we got that. We got that little thing there. Got your spring. Okay, now the next step is you have a little door here. This little door is a little spring door, if you notice, that you're going to have to catch. As you push this out, there's going to be a spring right back here on the edge of this as you slide this block out, and we're fixing to do that. And we're going to slide this block out. This firing pin, if you look, this firing pin will not come out. I'm going to show it to you right now. See this? You cannot get that out until this door is gone. It will stop right there. That's as far as it will go. If you pull on this too hard and try to get it to come out, you're going to pull too fast on this block that splits right there on this finger. It splits right there. That's going to have two springs that we have to watch to make sure that they don't spring out on you. Okay, so here we go. We're going to slide this block. I ask you just to put your thumb right here, like this. They may not spring too hard, but you never know. If you go in there really fast and you just try to yank this thing out of there and slide that block away, you could possibly get those springs to fly off and not realize it. But there are two, one up and down, one left and right. Okay, so here we go. We're going to depress this little door just a little bit, because you do have to depress it to get this block to slide, okay? So now the block is sliding. The block is free. See here? This block is free. Okay? So once you depress that little door, the firing pin will come out to that far. That's it. And don't force it, because there is a pin inside of here. There's a pin inside this little thing. So that's as far as it's going to go. It will not release now. It's stuck. Okay, even with that door depressed, it will not go. So that's as far as it's going to move until you slide this block out. Now, once we start sliding this block, okay, hear the little click? There's a little click. That is the spring in there that has released from the ejection bar right here. This little spring has released inside of here, and it clicks. You'll hear it. Let's see if I can push it back in. See? Hear it? There it was. And we'll do it again. I'll loosen it. It's not very loud. It's there, but it's not very loud. Okay? So now we see the springs are in here. There's two. There's one that's left and right. In there. Left and right. And up and down. Okay? The left and right we can't see yet, because I'm not completely away from the slide or the ejector spring. So I'm going to keep my finger there. Keep my finger there. Okay? Now I'm going to tilt it. See both springs? I'm trying to keep that in focus for you. There's both springs there. Okay? Now, there's this little tiny spring right here that just popped off of the door. Oh, that sits right there. The little door, little tiny door. There it is. That little tiny door and this little spring, when we go to put it back together, I'll show you about that. Okay? So here's the little tiny door. Here's the little tiny spring. Those, once you start putting it back together, you'll set this door on there, okay? And then you'll put this, keep it on its side. You want to keep the slide on its side, and watch it as you're sliding it in. And then press that little spring down, and you'll have to get it to glide. That spring will have to glide up underneath the edge right here. So you're going to have to kind of help it in there, and hopefully it doesn't bend on you, because I had it bend on me before on the first time that I opened it, and it started sliding it in, and I didn't quite catch that edge. The spring bent, and then I thought, okay, I'm gonna get it in there, and then boom, and it went ping, and it shot off. It took me and my wife a long time to find it. We absolutely had no idea where it went, but we actually found it and got it put back in. So we have the ejector spring, that's all that's left in there, and the recoil spring that goes to this, which is your firing pin. Okay? Now this firing pin, and I'm fixing to show you, has a hole in it. And I'm not talking about this hole right here. Let's see if I can get it to come out. Did it last time. How about this hole? All right. Now, there's this hole. Hold on, let me get it. See if I can get in frame here. Okay. See, there's that hole there. That hole can get built up. But there's also this pin. See this little pin? This little pin sits inside. There should be a second hole. I don't know if I can get into focus or not. But there's that hole, and then see right up underneath there? That's where this pin sits. And it sits completely flush. I don't know what this pin is for, but it is there. So if you are, and I almost did not see this the first time I took it apart. And when I took this pin out of the firing, out of the casing, it dropped. And it just fell straight out and fell down on the thing like this. And see where it's at? And it's almost, that's how it looks. And when you think it's small on there now, that's how it looks when you're just looking at it. It is very, very, very tiny. It's not very big. And like I said, it's about 1 centimeter long. And it's probably, I mean, about 1 centimeter wide. I'd say maybe 3 centimeters. I said 2 centimeters in the last video, but it might be 3. I mean, like I said, it's not very big. It's pretty darn small. But make sure that when you do, you put it back in. Like I said, there's a little tiny hole that you have to put this back in. So I'm going to put that back in there now because I don't want to lose it. I actually had to pull this one out this time. So I'm not going to cut away on anything so that you can actually see everything going on. But this does fit in there. I gotta get my, hold on, give me just a minute. I need to grab my glasses real quick so I can see what's going on. All right, that's better. Had to get my little glasses here. All right, now I can actually see the holes. So there's this first hole is kind of like a half moon hole. Doesn't do really much of anything. And then this little bar, see, fits in there, and it fits flush. See if I can get a picture of this. It fits flush. There's nothing, you don't see it. But once you turn it, the hole is blocked, see? And then just kind of watch this hole, because when you're firing, that could get built up if you don't clean this thing good. But this is your firing pin. This firing pin. This is not. Okay, so there's the difference. I want y'all to see this. There's no confusion. Firing pin, not the firing pin. Okay, so nobody can say this is the firing pin, just clean this, because this has definitely got to be cleaned. This is what strikes your bullet. This is the striker firing pin that hits your bullet. And I have not had any light primer strikes. The last time I took it and shot it myself, I didn't have any misfires. I have been having some misfires, but I have not been having any light primer strikes. I've been using the steel cased and brass cased, and I have not had any problems with either one. Or stainless steel and brass. I've used both of those and not had any problems. I don't know about any other bullets. I can't say whether or not they are or not, but as far as the gun itself, I have not had any problems with light primer strikes. Now, we are going to attempt to put this all back together. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide the firing pin in first, okay? And once you start sliding it in, make sure that you keep this lined up to the back, okay? So keep this lined up and watch that pin, because that pin also lines up the same way that this does. That pin sits in there the exact same way. It goes up and down this way, up and down this way. It does not sit across like you would think here. It doesn't go across this way. It goes up and down same way as this sits right here, just like that, up and down. Okay, so when you're sliding that back in, make sure that it's in there good and it's not just doing it. So there's the firing pin sticking out of this casing, okay? Now, we are going to slide this casing back into the slide. So it's going to sit in here, and you're going to go ahead and slide that in, okay? Now look, I'm going to tell you, here's the space that you have right now. This is the door in that you've got to get in there, okay? The door and the spring. That has got to go past this point of the sight. So when you slide it in there to catch it, now watch, I'm going to show you this reverse side. See this hole? See this hole there? That's where the spring sets through the block, this little block here, see it? So that spring has got to go all the way in there. There's the room that you've got to line up and get this spring back on. So it's kind of tight, and you can see it. I think if you could push the firing pin back some, maybe, right here, you could probably push this firing pin back in there, and that will give you a little bit more room. The only problem is that you've got to make sure that this spring is lined back up and then keep this spring out of the way. So you got to push that back and then also line this spring back up. So it's kind of two things here at once, but you've also got to make sure that you don't push this back while having that door and that spring in there. So we're going to put this door and spring back in, okay? So that's what I'm fixing to do now. So we're going to keep it on its side, on this door side. See there? We're going to, and this doesn't hold very well. It's loose. There's nothing holding it until that door gets back into the slide, okay? So just remember that. Oh, shoot. I just lost a spring out of there. I knew that was going to happen. This is the recoil, the ejection spring popped out on me. So I could probably put that in with some needle nose pliers. In just a second, I'm going to grab some. Got some tweezers here. Let's see my tweezers. Okay. Magnetic screwdriver. That screw is magnetic. So let me show you what I did to get, in case that spring comes back out. Take that spring and put it onto the screwdriver about midway. That way when you go in there, you can slide it in and set it right into the hole, just like this. Just go in there and pop it in. Then once you get the screw into the hole, slide it down, and then just take your screwdriver and slide it against the slide back, and that'll put it back in there. Okay. So there it is back in there. That's that bottom screw there. The one that's running this way, up and down, this way. Not this way, but up and down this way. So now back to this door. So I need to tell you this ain't fun. You may think, oh, this is not. These guys just kind of mess around with it. It doesn't really know what it's doing, but it's really just that freaking hard. Okay. Now, down here. And if that spring falls out again, I think I'm just going to worry about trying to put it in after I get this door in. So we're going to take this little door. And this door has to fit on a lip. So there's a little lip. You have to slide this in. Like so. There we go. See? It sits flush. Anybody can see that? See there? It's flush. And then the spring sits in this little groove. Okay, so you could slide this back just a little bit. See there? You can slide it back just a little bit to kind of get this edge of the slide to hold that little door. And you're going to take this little spring right here and you're going to put it on the top of that to press that in and then slide it in, okay? And I don't think I got the spring down far enough. I did not. Okay, so here's, see, show you something. See, the spring is not all the way down. So now you get your little screwdriver. Go in there, mash it down, and see if you can get that to slide in. And you kind of have to get in there. You know, it's not. Not easy, that's for darn sure. And be careful sliding it out because it will spring on you. I've had it spring on me. I did not like it one bit. See, there it went. Just by that quick. Just that quick. And if it's not down low enough, just past that edge, it will not go in. Man, I'm gonna be so mad if I have to send this sucker back into Taurus just to get it put back together after I try to help y'all out. Somebody needs to fund me some money. Alright, let's try this again. I'm going to tell y'all watching this in real time, I'm not excerpting anything. Okay, just so y'all know. Okay, got it that time, I think. Yes, I did get it in there. Okay, so pull back on that. Yes, I got it in there. Okay, had to check it. Okay. Now, here's where you got to show you something. Even though the spring is in there, that's all the room you got. If you slide this back any, you're not going to have any room, and the spring's going to fly away on you. So don't think, oh, well, let me slide just back just a little bit. Guess what? It's going to pass that little groove up here. It's in the top of the slide, and that spring is going to be locked back out, and you're not going to get the slide back up. Okay? So this is it. That's the room you got right there. Okay, so I got my spring for my firing pin line back up. And how you can check that is, push the firing pin forward, and just so you see it, I've got it. Oh, 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 don't do that, don't do that. Don't you move. See? I'll show you there. It's lined up in there. See? It goes to the spring. Now, you have to depress this side one. Get it all the way back up in there. And then slide this joker forward. Got it. Okay? So that, now this side one, put your screwdriver in there. Keep it pushed up against there. Make sure that it's still springy, see? It works, okay? So what you gotta do is when this, on the side spring, I'm gonna show you. Take your screwdriver, put it in there flat against it. Put as much pressure as you can against it at the same time. Then put your thumb up here on this back end. Press as hard as you can and yank that screwdriver out, because the pressure that you're adding back here when you pull that screwdriver out will slam that up there, and it won't let the spring out. So keep that spring pushed in there, and then push really hard up against there, and then yank it out real quick, and that pressure of your thumb in there will let you slam that in there, and the spring won't come out on you. Okay? Now, we got all that back in there, okay? So that's all back in there. And I'm gonna tell you, this spring, putting it back in, it is no joke. It is a spring. It is a good spring. I don't know if they intended to have a spring that hard, but I'm gonna tell you, that son of a gun is something. It's got some force behind it. Take this sucker, put it back in there. Put this back in here. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna start pushing this down in there. I'm gonna capture it. Now remember, not only do you have to hold it, but you've got to, not only do you have to hold that spring down in there, you've also got to line this clip back up in there, and it goes inside. Got it. Clip in there, okay? So you've got to come from this side. Hold some tension on that bad boy. Don't let it go. Do not let it go. Okay, okay. And my line back up. I gotta see. Can't really see. Trying to work it over just a little bit. Okay. So I got that some gun captured. Once you get this spring mashed down in there, I don't know if you could see me doing that, but once that spring is down in there and you get this door worked in a little ways, it will capture that cap, and then you can snap this back in. Okay. There it is, all back together. And it looks like it took me about 32 minutes to get it all out. Then of course, you know, you're gonna have your time cleaning it, wiping it all down, getting all the gunk out, all that kind of stuff. So that's gonna take you a while. And then what I didn't show you is once you take this pin out and this spring out, there's a hole where that spring goes. You can clean that out with a Q-tip. No big deal. I mean, it's not like I missed anything major, but just like I said, in the back where the spring goes into the firing pin, just make sure you clean that out so this spring doesn't get gunked up either. Can't talk. Blah, blah, blah. But that's it. I mean, everything's back in there. Everything's back together. It's not, you know. It's hard though if you haven't ever done it your first time, and you're not sure where all these parts go. At least you can kind of see now where everything is. And if you do miss that little pin that's in there, you can look for it. Make sure that you don't hold it away. You know, I put the little towel on here so I can see when something drops. And then the two main things that are really kind of the hardest is if that spring for this ejector falls out. It's kind of a little bit of a stick. Get you a magnetic screwdriver. Like I said, put it in the middle of the spring, put it down into the hole, and then just slide your screwdriver against the slide itself, kind of like this. Just take it, drop the screw into its hole, and then just take the screwdriver and lay it down in there and then slide it away so that you're not picking that spring back up. Don't put it in there and then go put it back in there and then try to take it out, or lift up the screwdriver and take it out, because then it's still magneticing the screw or the spring, and you're going to pull it right back out. So just set it in there and just kind of slide it away. And then this little spring at the back. That little spring at the back with this little door right here, that's a bear. Once you're sliding this block back in, if you don't get this spring mashed in flat enough against this back corner, and you'll see it just inside the edge of the slide here, it has to be mashed down below a lip that's in here. So you've got to mash it down far enough to get it past that lip so that it'll go past that and it won't come back out and try to spring back out on you. Okay, so watch out for that. Other than that, this is my second time to do it, and I feel a little bit more comfortable with it. I think the more times you do it, the more times you kind of mess around with it. I wouldn't just do it as a habit. I keep doing it and doing it, just to do it, because these springs, there's a lot of them in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 4, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 springs in there. But they're in hard locations. I mean, I wouldn't want to risk, you know, just taking this block out and not realizing it, and then just one day you're just click off and then start sliding it out, and then you don't have your finger over this screw that shoots out and lose it. So, you know, that.
Hey, Daddy.
Hey, Tougaloo. There's my daughter here. She's watching me shoot the video, but that's it pretty much. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and put the barrel back in and the recoil spring and the guide rod, and then that'll be it for it. But just, you know, just be patient with it.
Daddy, do you want, when you're done over here, do you want to see some more stuffed animals?
We're gonna save some more stuffed animals. Me and my daughter were playing rescue some stuffed animals, and she wants to play a little bit more before she goes to bed, and it is her bedtime. Have you already brushed your teeth?
No.
No, not yet? Okay. So we'll go play some more stuffed animals during just a minute after Daddy's done. Okay?
Okay.
All right. You can go wait on me, and I'll be there in a few minutes. But that, you know, like I said, I'm gonna put this in there, get this done, and that'll be it. It'll be all back together, and then of course, you know, it's time consuming. I did it just so that you could kind of see the steps that you have to take, and like I said, I feel a lot more comfortable with it now that I've done it a second time. I hate these recoil springs. I wish they would have just done a capture spring instead of leaving one end so wriggly loose that you can't get it back together. It's kind of ridiculous, because I have almost absolutely nothing to catch it to on the other end, except a little bitty tiny bit of metal where the recoil spring goes, or the guide rod goes back through. It's a pain in the butt. This is the only thing I hate about this whole gun, is this recoil spring. Taurus, if you're listening, put a captured spring in here. This is ridiculous. You know, and that's not even in there. There we go. I'm having more problems with this than I am. Almost want to kind of get a steel sleeve or something to. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll not be able to do that. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish putting this back in there. Come on, you gotta be kidding me. Well, y'all can watch me struggle with the recoil spring. But shit. I'm gonna edit all this out so you're not gonna see any of it.
Daddy, I had to check all the days before.
Okay. I'm glad you did.
Okay.
Okay, I got it. Alright. Back in there. I hate this. No, it's fine. I hate this recoil spring. It's worst. I think that's probably one of the worst designed recoil springs I've ever seen in my life. But anyway, and then of course y'all know that once y'all slide this back in, it goes back to lock. You'd have to twist that screw again, and then it's unlocked. But that's it. Video's over. Like I said, I'm not a big YouTuber or anything like that. I'm definitely not in this thing for the money. I just try to give videos whenever I feel like a video should be done. So that's it. There's no more. If you want to like and subscribe, you can. I'm not going to really do anything more with this gun other than what it is. If y'all have any more questions or want to know something about it, give me a call. I'll try to do a tutorial on it, or give a comment and ask me questions or whatever, and I'll try to give you a comment on it. But that's it. Taurus the Taurus Spectrum firing pin video explained. All right. Y'all have a good day. Bye.